No more card games. This week we saw the release of Logan.
Yes.
Which is been getting tons of great feedback. One of, I would say, probably the most critically acclaimed movies of the year. Definitely the most critically acclaimed movie of the X-Men franchise outside of maybe the first one. The first one got a lot of praise because it was new. It was cutting some new territory, right? Fair. So, but I would say that among the fans, like among people who really enjoy X-Men, that everyone who's seen it has said this movie is fucking incredible. So let's talk about some R-rated superhero movies.
Sure. I mean, like, we're seeing R-rated superhero movies kind of come into prominence now. It's nothing new. Like, R-rated superhero movies have been as far back as the 90s.
Blade did it first.
Well, not even, like, wasn't The Crow before Blade?
But, like, mainstream ones that people are, like, remember everyone was freaking out about Deadpool being rated R, and it turned out to be fantastic. Same with this one. So...
Well, and I mean, some of them have gotten like good like critical acclaim. Like Watchmen was pretty well reviewed and well liked, and it developed a cult following, if nothing else. But Deadpool was definitely the one where like it took off. Everyone was into it. It made a fuck ton of money. It made it was $760 million, I think, on a $58 million budget.
Well, and what was cool about Deadpool 2 wasn't just the fact that it was like, oh, look, our ratings can work. They took this concept that for years prior, that when any movie exec or Hollywood person looked at it, they were like, I don't get it. There's no way this is going to work.
Right.
It wasn't just that it was R-rated. There were so many things about Deadpool that just flew in the face of the Hollywood structure of superhero movies. I mean, you had like a whole, maybe 3 really main characters in it instead of like an entire team of them.
And the 2 of those main characters were very lesser known, like Colossus and...
I'd say Colossus. He's part of the original X-Men.
I guess.
Negasonic for sure, though.
Like, we're super popular and big.
Shut up.
Wait. I don't think Colossus was part of the original squad.
Are you sure?
He might have been, but when you think of the X-Men, Colossus is probably not in your first 10 that you name.
I don't think he's like, I wouldn't put him in like the A team, but yeah, he was in there pretty early on.
Yeah, definitely, and he's a good character too. But I mean, Megasonic Teenage Warhead, really
super great,
awesome name. Though.
I mean, yeah,
I do love the story for how she came about. They were sitting down, they needed another character, and they were running low on money, and they're sitting down with the execs and just talking about which character they want. And they're going down the list, and eventually they're like, how much for Negasonic Teenage Warhead? And the execs on the other side are like, who's that? And there's like, yep, that's who we want. That's the one.
But like Deadpool, though, is... It played much more on contemporary humor.
Oh, sure.
And I don't know, like, in 10 years, 15 years, like, that movie's definitely not going to hold up.
You don't think so?
It's going to be kind of weird because you're right. Like at the very beginning, him saying like, wait a minute, he just turned that guy into a fucking kebab. And now after Logan, it's like, well, anyone who's coming into this 10 years later that's not going to seem so shocking.
Well, and not just that, but I mean, to me, the writing. It was like an episode of Archer. It was like a 90-minute episode of Archer. That's how. I mean,
that's fair though. That's fair,
and that is praise because I love Archer. I think the writing staff on Archer is great, but I just don't know. Like,
but Archer in 10 years might not hold
exactly
up
because it's so rooted in like now, right? Like that quick fire pace of humor.
The sort of internet age. Like, I mean, this is the type of humor that we've all been doing for years now. This is the first time it's really made its way into some type of like big mainstream, media sort of thing, and they realized, oh, this works,
right?
And Ryan Reynolds had to fight tooth and nail to get that movie rated R.
Yeah,
I think he actually threatened at one point to leave the project if it wasn't going to be rated R.
I think that might be true. Yeah,
and I mean, like, I don't know if they actually believed him that would be that would actually end up happening because he argued for this movie to happen for 10 years. But we've seen now Deadpool be really successful, and we've seen Logan. It's already made back its budget on week 2 at this point, and it's still going strong. It's going to make a fortune before it's all said and done, especially once the overseas numbers start coming in on it. And it's got a lot of critical acclaim. My concern is, are we going to start seeing just a glut of superhero movies now that are rated R?
I mean, look at Suicide Squad. I mean,
PG-13
Suicide Squad is the first one that I roll out because
was it? It was PG-13.
PG-13.
Was it really?
Yeah, PG-13 Suicide Squad.
And I think that one would have benefited from being able to have the freedoms of rated R.
It probably would have.
No,
It would have benefited from being a Marvel movie.
Here's the problem with that, Nika, because I don't think that just giving it a rated R movie would have given it the freedom you think. Yeah, okay, they would probably had more violence, more blood and whatnot. But the reason that Deadpool and Logan succeeded wasn't just because they were rated R. It's because the fact that they were rated R, they were taking a chance, right? The movie studios basically said, all right, you know what? You've made a good case for it. We'll see how it works. Here's your little bit of money. Here's your rated R rating. Show us what you can do. I feel like the execs didn't have their fingers in those pies, right? So not only were they allowed the freedom to put it in our rating, but they were also allowed the freedom to craft the story and a narrative in the way that they wanted. And what is exceptional about both Deadpool and Logan is these aren't your typical big AAA blockbuster superhero save the world stories.
Yeah.
They're very insular. They follow a very strict and personal narrative about a few select characters. And even if you look back on a lot of the Marvel movies, some of the greatest points, like in Avengers Age of Ultron, the farm scene, there was no action happening. That was all just pure character stuff. It was some of the best storytelling in that movie, and Joss Whedon had to fight for his life to get that included in the movie. They didn't want it. They're like, that's boring. Who wants to watch them on a fucking farm?
Right. And you got to wonder, why would Fox be the one to make that decision? Because both of these movies are connected to the X-Men franchise, even if tangentially. And I think that the reason that you end up making a decision like this, like, they had a perfect storm of influences. You had three back-to-back X-Men movies that not just were bad and critically panned, but did poorly at the box office. So
not
you had
poorly enough to make a
you had a
still made a profit though.
You had a franchise on its heels, right? Like it came back a little bit with First Class, but then it all went to hell.
All over itself again.
Yeah, exactly, right?
We did well. Pissing all over themselves at that point.
So when you have when you have a franchise that's on its heels, or even a movie studio that's on its heels and it's desperate to kind of make its money back, they'll be much more willing to go and try adventurous things in order to stand out from the competition.
And then the leaked test footage happened.
Yes, and again, having Ryan Reynolds as the push on the inside against the studios in the system was also a critical piece to have in play, because you had audiences that had become disenfranchised and disenchanted with the X-Men, and then you had Ryan Reynolds, and you had this sort of like you had two big factors that studios actually pay attention to. None of this other shit, these podcasts, these fucking YouTube reviewers, like none of that means anything.
Yeah.
Especially not to studios. The bottom line means something, and their star power means something. And so you had this confluence of like great things that happened that happened to make Deadpool a thing, and they worked for like they had almost no budget on the thing too.
Yeah, $58 million on a superhero movie is nothing.
Yeah, it's sort of like I think I compare a lot of stuff to Adult Swim because I think it's probably the best example of a successful millennial aimed brand that has, and it's been around for like 15 years at this point. It's been around for a long fucking time
on the cheap,
and it's still good. Like, it's still just as funny and biting and witty today as it was when it started. And when Adult Swim started, you're right, Robbie, it had no money, it had no budget, it had nothing behind it. Those guys were working overtime for free after finishing up on the Toonami block, to be able to make Space Ghost. And it's like little by little you get these sort of like incremental successes to be able to get a big broadcasting company like a Turner, like a Sony, to be able to go, oh, there is a market here. And then once you get that first little bit of injection of capital and of funding, then it just explodes. And I think that there's a specific way to market stuff to that demographic that 99.9% of companies, corporations, and brands miss the mark on. So,
and I think you're absolutely right, but like it comes back to my concern though. Are we going to now see a major glut of this? Is this going to become the hot new thing to do?
But even if it is that really a concern? Like, if they're all good, who cares?
Well, if they're good, that's fine, yeah. But inevitably, they won't all be.
No,
but you mean
that's
it's
the
going to be a fad, so some of them are going to be good and some of them are going to be horrible?
That's the problem, Nika, is that certain studios, let's take Fox, because they're the one that have both of these, really great R-rated movies that just did amazing. The problem is that Fox is going to look and it's like, oh, that's all we had to do. We have to make them rated R. So
clearly that's why the Fantastic Four failed, because we didn't have a fuck scene in it.
So
that would help, to be fair.
So, when New Mutants comes out next year alongside Deadpool 2, they make it rated R, they throw in a bunch of violence, and then when it flops, they think, oh, well, crap, we made it rated R. Why didn't it work?
You know what's going to be the real test? I think, and I mean this genuinely, just because of how complicated the project has seemed to be, is going to be Deadpool 2.
Complicated?
I think
they've been losing. They lost the director early on, didn't they? And they had to replace him.
They didn't lose him. I think that from everything that I read, basically him and Ryan Reynolds had a different take on it. It was an amicable step away, but that was it. It's actually been going along pretty well.
Outside of him, I think it's okay.
They've just cast Domino. They're still keeping it close to the chest on who they're going to cast as Cable.
But there's a lot of room to fuck this up. Like,
there's always room to fuck it up.
But
sure.
the sophomore shot is the one that matters.
Yeah.
Like, you can get a lot of things right without even trying. Mm-hmm. And now that they know people are going to be watching, the studio is going to have way more input on it. Because it's a cash cow, the studio is automatically going to want to have input on it. And I don't know that Ryan Reynolds is going to be able to keep them at bay. I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep them at bay.
I don't know. I think if you bring in $760 million on a $58 million budget, you get some sway. You get to say things like,
you get a wide berth. But I mean, but again, like, Reynolds has as much of an opportunity to fuck this up as any of the studio input.
And you look at the history of second movies and superhero franchises. Iron Man 2 was not good.
No.
Thor 2 was not good.
Avengers was good, too.
But it wasn't as good as the first one.
It wasn't.
Captain America 2 was good.
Yes.
Yeah,
Winter
Soldier. Dark Knight.
Yeah, though the Dark Knight would be the quintessential.
It really is. Yeah. That's sort of
Soldier.
like the Empire Strikes Back of fucking superhero movies.
Now, you don't think you got to see Logan? So have you seen the teaser trailer for Deadpool 2 or the tease for it yet?
Yeah.
Okay, that was so far, like, if that's the kind of humor we're gonna see, I'm thrilled, because that was funny as hell.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing though. I don't think the humor is hard to nail down. It's where does a Deadpool sequel lead you? Because there wasn't really much room from the first one, like, for a part 2,
Right, it was a vendetta story and it's over.
Well, in terms of canon, they could go a bajillion different ways, because Deadpool ends up popping up in the weirdest places in the comics.
Especially with Cable showing up,
absolutely,
too. Yeah.
Absolutely. But at the same time, though, I do worry about the humor, because the humor, even by the end of that movie, I was sort of like, it was already starting to wear a little bit thin.
You're dumb.
A character, but a character that outrageous and that quippy, I think that you're going to have a tough time having him carry 2 movies in a row.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to take the spotlight off of him at least somehow. And I mean, they had They had the very serious foil with Colossus in the first movie.
You don't think that Cable would work as a good foil?
He's got to be a different kind of foil.
Well, obvious. He's not going to be the. I mean, obviously he's serious, but I don't see him being the same type of serious that Colossus was, because he was like Big Brother, like, you know.
Colossus is a Boy Scout. That is not Cable.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So, I mean, but in terms of comedy beats, like, I think they're going to have to spend some time away from Ryan Reynolds in the second movie to be able to give him the breath.
I agree, because you know what?
Yeah.
That is so true in the comic books. The Deadpool comics wore really thin because of his shtick.
Yeah.
But where he was really good is in the Spider-Man Deadpool comic. That comic that is running right now is like 20 issues in, and each comic is better than the last
Well,
one.
a lot of times his features have been better than his actual books.
The other thing to keep in mind too is like Deadpool, the first Deadpool, that was literally all about him. Like, yeah, Colossus and Negasonic were there, but they were both minor characters on the edge.
But it was his story.
Yes. So in Deadpool 2, they're bringing in Domino, they're bringing in Cable, and both of those two, I don't think you look at them as secondary characters. I think that they can hold just as much weight in the movie as what Deadpool does. So at this point already, you could divide the attention between three characters, and I think that that's enough to split up and make it so that Deadpool and his, his personality and his jokes and his quippiness doesn't become overbearing.
I'd like to see them eventually, maybe in like the third movie, do something akin to the Deadpool Secret Wars that we saw in the comics, which was basically a retelling of the original Secret Wars, but it reveals that Deadpool was responsible for almost everything that happened in it at every point in time.
I like that.
It literally takes panels from the original 80s comics and then splices in new panels where it's revealed that Deadpool was the cause of something. Yeah, that was a great story. I'd love to see them go back through some of the X-Men movies and reveal that Deadpool had a major hand in it.
That would be great. Or
that'd be an amazing story.
And he could even narrate like a lot
what's
of it
going on.
See, like I think that Deadpool, again, as a character, always worked best as a feature and as opposed to his own books. His own books did kind of wear really thin for me,
absolutely.
and because it was always his interaction with the other superheroes.
Definitely.
That really drove the humor and that drove my interest in it. Like when he was off by himself or doing whatever, I was so uninterested in that.
Yeah, well, it's his, like, it's the other characters reacting to his fourth wall breaking that makes the fourth wall breaking work.
That's true too.
It's kind of like there's a scene in Deadpool though where he does the fourth wall break inside of his fourth wall break where he's talking to the lady. I'm like, all right, that's funny because she's just like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of works. But you're right. It's the comics where he's teamed up with Captain America or teamed up with Wolverine or Spider-Man. Those are always the ones that are interesting.
And they made mention of it during the film. They've even with an increased budget, they've still got a very limited list of superheroes that they can pair him with.
Yeah, absolutely. And
until the wider Marvel universe is available, I think that his applications can be pretty limited too.
But how much do we want them to have access to all of that? Because Logan and Deadpool, those are the two that worked, and both of those, again, were very small casts. So my question is, obviously they can make that work, okay? Whatever the next rated R movie is, if they take that smaller, intimate look at a story, I think it'll be fine, right? But just giving a rated R movie to the next X-Men movie or the next Fantastic Four movie, that's not going to save anything.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And like, to be fair, yeah, the only movie right now coming up that is pretty much a guaranteed R rating is Deadpool 2. But I mean, there are things in the pipeline like X-Force or Gambit that you could do as an R-rated story.
I don't think they're going to do Gambit.
I think
R-rated.
Gambit's done. Well, I don't know that Gambit's.
No, it's still going. They've recently got another director. They're set to start filming sometime this year.
I don't know.
And I think, I mean, the reason that all this comes up is I looked at this and thought, we're doing a show now that is about, us as gamers when we were young and what we want to see in gaming today. And I think that, like, us seeing these R-rated superhero movies come into popularity is kind of a reflection of that same idea. What interested us as kids, it's hard to swallow it as watered down and like PG-13. We want some grit and some realism and some depth to it. And that's why I think these R-rated movies do well for an adult audience.
And comics, to a large degree, weren't necessarily aimed at kids. They were aimed at a growing audience,
right.
an aging audience. And when we found them, there were many, many, many books and series that were explicitly for older and adults that still featured those same superheroes. You know?
Were past the campiness of the 60s when like we were finding comics like late 80s, early 90s where there was a lot of adult themes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so when you have that as an aspect to your source material, obviously you're going to want it reflected. And I now look, granted, the studios are put in a tough position because they're spending a lot of money to be able to, they're obviously effect-heavy movies. They've got to pay for the licensing on top of it. So there's a lot of money that they've got to make up on the back end.
Yeah.
So taking risks with superhero movies is not. I understand why it took so long to get here, but you're right. Now that we're here, it can't just go to like craven depths. You know what I mean? Like,
right. There needs to be a measure of control used with it. You need to let the story dictate the rating. You can't go into and say like, we want to do a Justice League movie, but it has to have an R rating. Well, it doesn't make any sense for the Justice League. Now, Justice League Dark, they made that work in the animated movie. It was actually pretty good. But your story that you want to tell, let your artists tell their stories and let the rating be what it is.
Well, and what I wish that they would take away from these two movies, too, isn't that superhero movies need to be about the spectacle. You don't have to be like, all right, what's the big thing that the X-Men are going after this time, right? Take your characters and you say have the story dictate the content, but I'd like to see the characters dictate what the story is. Because for me, reading comic books, it was never about, what's the biggest bad that they're going to fight. It's how the characters interacted with each other and like the characters, going after each other. In the death of Spider-Man, my favorite part of that was seeing the events that led up to it, and then afterwards seeing like all the different heroes at Spider-Man's funeral. Seeing Aunt May slap Captain America. Oh, my heart.
It was a good moment. You're right.
And I think that we do want that reflected in our media. When that punch gets pulled, when you can look at the source material and go, yeah, the source material did it better. And for no other reason than, well, some people might not like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that. That's a bad reason to do anything. That's a bad note. That's a bad note for a studio to give someone who's, in the middle of their creative process. And so, I think that this does, I think the thing that I'm saddest about most is that because Logan is Hugh Jackman's last foray as Wolverine.
They finally get it right.
Well, not just that, but I think that the perfect crossover there is Wolverine Deadpool, because it always
Deadpool
has
wants
been.
It so bad. Ryan Reynolds wants it so bad,
and it has been. It has, like, that crossover, like even going back to the comics, has been traditionally great.
Yeah, you're right.
So it is a bummer that we won't see that.
Sure, it was his last one. It was a great note to go out on, but he is the Brett Favre of comic book movies. So even if it's just like a 1% chance,
I don't know, man.
I'm still holding out because he said he'd come back if he could be in a movie with the Hulk.
Patrick Stewart said he would do Xavier only in a Deadpool movie.
Yeah, that's true. That came up as well too.
Dude,
I would dig that. I would love to see them have a conversation.
But like the thing is that if you do a Deadpool Wolverine team up, it's got to be like the whole movie. You know what I mean?
It can't just be like a cameo.
It can't just be a cameo. Yeah. It's got to be Deadpool and Wolverine, like on the fucking title card, man.
Oh God, I want that movie.
I know.
That's like that's the only thing that bothers me or makes me sad about Spider-Man going back to Marvel is I'm not going to get Spider-Man Deadpool. And I want that so bad.
Take the bleakness of Logan.
Yeah.
And then have Deadpool commenting on how bleak it is the whole time.
Yes.
Like making like self-aware jokes about how like overwrought the scenes are, or the coloring of like the muted colors that they use.
Yeah.
Or just how fucking depressing everything is. And you have him doing a running commentary on
basically
that.
every comment that the audience makes while watching the movie. Like there's so many things that I was able to call out because like we know where this is going. Come on.
Yeah. Oh man. I want
All right.
that movie.
Now I have a question for you guys because you mentioned that we don't have very many R-rated movies coming out. Obviously, we have Deadpool 2 coming next. Are we forgetting that Seth MacFarlane right now is making? Wait, is that the right?
Seth Rogen?
No.
MacFarlane. The other MacFarlane.
Todd MacFarlane. Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Seth, I'm like, that isn't right.
Clearly, yes, we did forget.
Is currently writing the next Spawn movie.
Okay, we've been hearing that for like a decade. So Todd, either do it or don't. Come on.
I mean, is there a studio behind it?
I don't know if there's a studio behind it.
Is he taking it to Kickstarter? What the fuck is he doing with it?
But the comments that have been coming out on social media recently is that he wants to put Deadpool and Logan to shame as far as the R ratings go.
Oh my
good
God.
for him. Make the movie and we'll actually talk about it.
That's what he did with the comics and the comic books. I mean, look, I get it that they sold a lot of issues because they were really controversial for the time. I don't know that Todd McFarlane can really keep up. What is he going to do? Like, honestly, it's all body horror that we've seen unless he radically changes the designs of everything.
Yeah.
If he cast John Leguizamo as a crazy clown again, I'll still go see it.
You'll see anything with John Leguizamo, though.
Yeah.
You like the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Way too much.
It was so good.
No,
I need to watch that again.
Excuse
Can we watch
me.
that right now?
The Super Mario game. You have a plumber who saves a princess from a dragon and eats mushrooms and flowers to get powers. How do you make that into an actual good movie?
you don't.
I wouldn't really
Thank
call
you.
Bowser a
You see,
dragon.
you just don't make it a movie.
Okay, they did as good as they can, and it was awesome. I stand by that.
He likes Shaq Fu in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
God, you have the worst taste of any human being I've ever met.
I'm gonna stream Bubsy 3D
You should. Yeah, you should
as a
absolutely.
charity stream for Escalia.
You should absolutely do that. Go ahead. Stream Bubsy 3D. Have fun.
Callie's
Get that
boob fund.
PS1 up.
Kelly's boob fun. There
There
we
you go. Yeah.
Boot up that PS1 and have fun with your non-shaded, non-textured surfaces.
Why are you so salty about Bubsy?
You
I
really
owned it.
Did
'Cause
he
I
hurt
owned it.
you as a
you
child?
Yes.
really hate Bubsy.
Yeah, no, Bubsy was straight up one of those. All right, we talked about this one other time about going out and renting games and like having to have a backup. So Friday afternoon after school, I rented Bubsy and I found out what garbage it was, and that's what I had to play for that weekend. And I will never get that weekend back as long as I live. And I've hated Bubsy ever since.
I feel like his parents like had a birthday party for him once, and someone dressed up as Bubsy, but then he paid him an extra visit after dark, and that's really where this like hatred
Oh my
of
God,
Bubsy
I got
comes
raped
from.
by a guy in a Bubsy costume? This is
butthurt.
dark. What could possibly go wrong?
It's
Come
the-
here, kid.
It's the rated R episode, right?
Okay, well, I want to go home now.
Too bad. You have another show to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so, I mean, R-rated superhero movies, I hope that they don't become a fad. Like, I hope that they don't become the next
That
thing.
they're
Right.
utilized appropriately.
Right, do it when the story calls for it.
Right.
Take the right lessons from this.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I would say that anything that Marvel's got in, coming down the pipeline probably doesn't need an R rating. Most of those properties.
No, in fact,
what they have been doing is, and again, Marvel's been succeeding, so I don't think that they're going to be shook by Deadpool or Logan or anything that does well. Like they know what they do well, and they're just going to keep charging forward with it because they planned 20 years worth of films in like one cocaine fueled fuck session or something.
Actually,
I don't know what the fuck that was.
I do actually think though they can learn certain things from Logan and Deadpool. Not in the R-rated movie sense, but in the smaller, narrative-driven
that's
things.
fair.
Yeah, which they've said after Avengers Infinity War, like that's like the big like spectacle.
But that's where they started, though. I mean, if you think about it, Iron Man 1 was incredibly character-driven.
Yep.
That was all about, like, not just Tony Stark, but how good Robert Downey Jr. was as Tony Stark.
Today, Iron Man still holds the record among Marvel movies for the biggest opening weekend, and that type of storytelling is what they're planning on going back to after the Infinity Wars.
Yeah,
And that
which
makes
they
sense.
need to do.
Yeah, they should. Like this, like it's great. Well, all the original movies built up to Avengers, and now everything's building up to this huge climax for them.
Yep.
And then once it's over with, you get back to the basic stories.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what post Infinity War Marvel looks like.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very, very different world, and I think that this is going to be a really good opportunity for them.
One of the things that I read recently was that the reason they can't tell us any of the titles that are coming after Infinity War is because it will spoil the outcome of Infinity
That's
War.
fantastic.
And good. It should, yeah.
Good. Great. Then they're smart.
5 Nights at Bubsy's.
Oh.
I think though, if every DC movie that comes out from now until the end of time has an R rating on it, you know who to blame.
Yeah.
DC is really just chasing. They just chase so
I know.
hard.
DC does R-rated movies, but only as animated movies for whatever reason. They don't want to take the chance on doing one.
Well,
in live
remember
action.
the DVD release of Batman vs Superman was R.
Great.
take a chance. Do the Killing Joke. Do Death of Superman. Do something.
Except they did the Killing Joke as an animated movie, and they, oh my god,
You could easily reboot that, right?
It was so bad.
Like-
They had Bruce Wayne and Batgirl. Did they actually sleep together?
Oh yeah.
Okay, they actually slept
Well, I don't know
together.
if they slept together, but they fucked.
Yeah, okay, they fucked. It wasn't just
They
like
sure
this.
did.
It wasn't just this weird attraction. At some point, Batman thought is a good idea.
Listen. Bruce Timm has an obsession that I can't explain because he's tried to do it on 3 different occasions now. Where he's like, "But what if Batgirl and Batman kissed? What if?
Aren't they
what if
related?
No.
No, it's well. This is Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, it's Barbara Gordon.
And Barbara Gordon. So it's the commissioner's daughter.
Yeah. But
Okay.
he
How
just
old is
wants
she?
them to kiss for some reason. She's old enough, but not old enough. Old enough,
So
but
what's-
not old enough.
So what's the problem?
Well, Bruce is in like what, his 40s or his 50s?
They're both bat people. It makes
Age
sense.
ain't nothing but a number in love, right?
They're just gonna make more Bat kids.
Listen, it wasn't great. Although I will say that what they added on for Batgirl, like that was almost more interesting than the actual Killing Joke storyline.
Well, because not only did they sleep together, but afterwards, Batman realized, oh, that was a bad idea.
That was a bad call. Yeah, and then he forbids her for being Batgirl.
It was just like really awkward between them
Yeah.
up until she gets paralyzed. Like, it's just
And then it wasn't awkward.
No, then it's
still
just a
awkward.
different kind of awkward.
right.
yeah. No,
like,
it
like
was
he has
all
to
awkward.
save Commissioner Jordan, then be like, by the way,
Commissioner Jordan.
Gordon.
I gotta lace up my Air Commissioner Jordans.
Commissioner Air Jordan.
Yeah.
Arrives to the crime scene with his tongue out.
If you want to see a good R-rated DC movie, watch Justice League Dark. It was
Which is
good.
on my to watch list.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, that's it.
Pretty amazing that Commissioner Jordan can sink so many threes, right?
You want to put a better end cap on the end of your subject, and all right, that's it.
All right, that's it.
That's it. Wait, I'm glad that I've taught you so well
You've taught me.
in broadcasting.
I ended this episode
We're
almost
done.
the same way.
Bye. Peace out.
Okay.
See
TLDR
you-
is late.
See you later, fuck boys. Bye.
Okay, this is getting to be a pretty good ending, so we need to stop.
Can we just agree
boys.
Lego Batman's better than all of them and be done with it?
I don't know. I
Lego
heard
Batman
that
was
Lego
fine.
Batman was too gay.
Well, no, there was definitely
I
something
love
going on
Lego
between
Batman.
Joker and Batman.
I
like,
remember
whoa.
that
It was so funny.
there was some right-wing conservatist group that said that Lego Batman was too gay. All right, so that's what I'm going with.
Well, I mean, you got to see Condiment King, and really, that's all I ever wanted out of a Batman movie.
It was so good.
The commentary there that where they just ask like, "Wait, are you making these up?" No, those are all real characters. That's an excellent commentary on '60s Batman. So I'll let that go.
All right. I guess we got a call.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
What?
We'll take a call from Alex Johnson. What's up, Alex?
We don't have
No?
a call.
Oh.
You need to call me Kooky first before I can pick up the thing.
Wait on it. Oh, this is good.
Hey, did anyone see Samurai Jack on Saturday?
No.
No.
Oh, it's great.
Is it?
Yeah. You want darker Samurai Jack where he's now like the future's gotten to him finally and he's haunted by his past? Yeah. It's pretty solid.
Sounds more like Dark Knight Jack. Am I right?
Is Phil Lamar still doing the voice?
Yeah, same
The
voice
guy
as
from
Samurai Jack.
Nintendo?
Huh?
No, it's the same
Phil
voice as
Lamar?
Samurai Jack.
Oh, that's Reggie.
I'm pretty sure that's Phil Lamar.
I didn't know that.
I think it is.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the same voice for Samurai Jack. The only voice that's different is Aku because the voice actor died.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Dragon Sword says it's me. For some reason, Skype isn't working.
Oh,
Oh. All right, well then.
Womp womp womp.
I guess never mind. Sorry, Alex. Dragon Sword, whatever.
All
Anyway.
right, that's it.
We're done.
That's it.